Well, nowadays you got to have that confidence because people nowadays.
Before we get straight into the podcast, I just want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, Declan Kirby GAA Star. Declan Kirby GAA Star Championship Journey. It's a series of GAA team children's books written by primary school teacher and GAA coach Michael Egan. You can check it out in the link in the description down below, of course, as well. Follow the trials and tribulations of Declan Kirby and his team at Smithgreen Gaelic Football Club, recently formed but promising GAA team. The book is now available in Easons and all good bookshops, so check it out in the description down below, and let's get straight into it. What's the story, lads? Welcome back to GAA Fan TV. I hope everyone is keeping wonderfully well. My name is Aaron and this is the football preview show for the second weekend of fixtures in the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship. And you know what? Here we go. This is where the championship, especially this weekend about football and hurling, we're going to see a lot of teams exit the championship. It's kind of mad. The championship has just started and it feels like this is a critical week because, we'll be down to the final four in, of course, in Leinster. Will be, there'll only be 6 teams left in Ulster as far as I'm aware, and 3 teams left in Connacht, and obviously you have your 4 teams left in Munster as well. So look, listen, it's coming at us thick and fast, and you know what? I would recommend everyone really savour the championship this weekend because it's going to be a long winter. We're not going to have much football and everything else. And I know the Euros has been absolutely killing it at the moment. Let's be honest. I mean, since the National League has gone away and the Euros has started, it's been a breath of fresh air, let's be perfectly honest. But obviously, we're not here to talk about the Euros. We're here to talk about this weekend's All-Ireland Senior Football Championship action. And yeah, if you could do me a massive favour, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Let me know down in the comments below what your predictions are for this week. If you want to get over and join the GA Predictions League, it's over on the Matchpin app. It's completely free. You can join with the code GFTV and you can predict this weekend's games in both football and hurling and try and compete against me and some other members in the league as well. At the moment, I'm in the first position. Can you catch up to me? Look, listen, I mean, I'm not the best at predicting, these predictions. I predicted Kerry to win the All-Ireland last year. Didn't work out at all. So get over there and see if you can beat me. But nonetheless, let's get straight into it. Let's get straight into this weekend's action. So we have 1 game over in Connacht. We've 4 games over in Leinster. We've 2 games in Ulster and no games in Munster this weekend, unfortunately. But we'll start with the game in Connacht because that is going to be the real interesting game this weekend. There's probably going to be a lot of one-sided games and potential mismatches and whatnot once again. But this is a game that Galway and Roscommon has a real sort of... It's going to be interesting because Galway and Roscommon have always been very close down the years. The last 5 meetings have drawn up 2 wins for Galway, 2 wins for Roscommon, a draw in there to begin with as well. All of those meetings were in Connacht finals as well. And what's actually interesting is these sides tend to do better away from home than home. When Roscommon have won Connacht titles, it's been on Galway's home patch. When Galway have won Connacht titles, it's been in the Hyde Park in Roscommon's home patch. And obviously, I think one of them was in Castlebar. That was the replay. So, yeah, look, listen, this is going to be very, very interesting, and it really, really is. Both sides coming down from Division 1. Both sides obviously getting relegated. Both sides coming in bad form. And, I was thinking Galway are coming into this game as favourites, and that is a little bit dangerous, in my opinion, because there's a real chance here for Roscommon to really nick this one, in my opinion, because Galway are coming in on the back of some tough form. Look, listen, they improved against Monaghan, and if they had seen the game out against Monaghan, I think almost everyone would really be looking at Galway to win this game, but they didn't. They defensively collapsed. They just don't seem to be into... They're not playing to their potential at the moment, Galway. They certainly have talent in Shane Walsh, and Robert Finnerty is another top-class player since he's come into the team as well. Ian Cook in midfield since he's come in has been impressive. I liked him in the Dublin game, but I'm not too sure what it is about Galway. It's just their decision making seems to be off. They're not moving the ball quickly enough in the final third at different times. They're not showing that killer instinct that the likes of a Mayo or a Dublin or a Kerry would have shown against Monaghan. There was a chance towards the end of that game where Galway could have killed Monaghan off. They really, really could have. Roscommon, on the other hand side of things, are coming into this in a bad run of form. Their last win came back when they were in Division 2, so you'd have to go back to 2020, just after the start of the pandemic. And it just, not only are they getting beat, but they're getting beat comfortably. They haven't really ever been in any of their games. They showed some impressive signs against Kerry, but albeit Kerry, changed their team quite a bit for that game. If they're going to do anything in this game, they need to get Enda Smith on the ball around the middle. Like, he needs to dominate the ball, in my opinion. Sean Malooly needs to play as well. He needs to get involved and be really central around the midfield. Conor Cox needs to have a wonder performance as well. And look, listen, Conor Cox, it's a bit hit or miss with him at times. He can kick some absolutely phenomenal scores at different points in the game from all sorts of angles, but then he can miss some opportunities as well when it would have been better to recycle possession and maybe work it into the likes of a Cathal Craig or one of the Murthas and whatnot as well. So, do you know what? I think it's going to be a close game. I think Roscommon are probably... It's an interesting one because Roscommon sat deep against Armagh, invited the pressure on, and Armagh just picked them off completely. The game plan just didn't work from Anthony Cunningham and Stephen Poacher to begin with. They certainly, since Stephen Poacher has come in, we're all expecting this defensive system. It just hasn't worked so far. Could it work in this game? I don't know. I'd like to see Roscommon play more on the front foot and actually go at Galway. I think they'd actually have more joy in doing it that way rather than sitting back. But I mean, at the same time, the pressure will be on for Galway because if Roscommon would be leading by 2 or 3 points going into the final 5 to 10 minutes, I'd fancy Roscommon to finish it out, to see the game out. So it's going to be interesting, but ultimately, I'm going to go with Galway to win this by 2 points. I think they'll just have a little bit more than Roscommon. This also has the possibility for Galway to win it quite comfortably, but I do think Roscommon need to step it up in this game. They need to show just something for the fans, for the supporters, because it's been bleak times for Roscommon really since they got promoted up to Division 1. So they really need to, push on from here, show a bit of quality. Even if they lose, go down with your heads, held high, because normally Roscommon do that anyway, even when they do get beat. So I'm expecting it to be a close game, but ultimately 2-point win for Galway. We move on to the Ulster Championship, and we've got Armagh versus Antrim and Monaghan versus Fermanagh. Armagh and Antrim, this will be probably, alongside Dublin and Wexford, in my opinion, the biggest probably mismatch of the weekend. And look, fair play to Antrim. They have had a really good season, being promoted, of course, from Division 4, winning every game, showing a lot of quality under Enda McGinley to do what they've done. But ultimately, you're coming up against an Armagh side that just has too much quality, in my opinion, all around the pitch. The likes of your O'Neills, your Rian O'Neill, Oisin O'Neill. For me, Armagh will win this game quite comfortably. There's no two ways about it. Monaghan for Fermanagh, this is a real banana skin. This is a real banana skin right here, because Monaghan, for whatever reason, in the Ulster Championship in particular, they always seem to have a clanger in them. They lose to Cavan the past 2 years in a row. They lost to Fermanagh back in 2018, 2017. They lost to Down. Like, they have the quality to win this. They have the quality to go all the way to the Ulster final and potentially even win it. They're coming in on the back of so much confidence with the likes of Jack McCarron and, kicking wonder scores, Conor McManus. You've got the likes of Darren Hughes coming off the bench as well. So Monaghan have the quality. They have the talent. Surely they're going to see off Fermanagh, which, have a lot of young players in that team. They're trying a few different things out, and Sean Quigley's come back and really held a mantle. And if they're going to do anything in the game, they need to get the best out of him. But surely, Fermanagh will probably sit back. They'll make it tough. Monaghan have the players to kick from distance. They have the players to kick from, 30 to 40 yards. They just need to take the risks. They need to take the chances. Because for me, that was the problem in the Cavan game last year. Fermanagh a few years ago, they weren't taking enough risks. They weren't taking those chances. And I feel like if they show even, 60 to 70% of the same quality they showed against Galway, they should come through this game by 4 or 5 points. So ultimately, I'm going to go with Armagh to beat Antrim by 10 plus, and I'm going to go with Monaghan to beat Fermanagh by 5. You've got a couple of games then in the Leinster Senior Football Championship, and Dublin and Wexford first of all. Yeah, we kind of know what's going to happen here, unfortunately, let's be perfectly honest, and it's a shame for Wexford. It really, really is. I don't want to get into the whole championship structure debate. I'm sure everyone's kind of heard it all already this week to begin with, and obviously I was talking about it on the podcast, of course, on Monday. But yeah, Wexford are the lowest ranked team in the Leinster Senior Football Championship if you base it off the National Football League, and for them to come up against a side that has won this competition 10 years in a row doesn't really make much sense. But anyways, Dublin will win this by 20 plus points, let's be honest. Will we learn anything different from Dublin in this game? They'll probably try, Peadar O'Cofic Byrne. There's been some rumours that Stephen Cluxton was going to retire. And he lined out for his club, Parnell's apparently there during the week. So look, listen, it'd probably be the most Cluxton thing ever to just retire under the radar, and for Dublin GAA to put out a statement on Friday night or something like that. I really don't know what's going to happen there, but I fully, apparently he's back in training. Paddy Andrews said he was back, so I would fully expect him to be back in the team. Whether he'd start, I don't know. He could go with Evan Comerford for this game. Try out a couple of teams. Sean McMahon maybe coming back into the side. Tom Lahiff maybe gets a couple of minutes. Maybe Dean Rock comes back into the fold as well. So ultimately, Dublin will win it by 20 plus. In terms of players to watch out for from a Wexford point of view, I think it's Sean Nolan, who's a very talented player in the Wexford side. He's been impressive. Robbie Brooks is another one to keep an eye on as well. And you have the likes of Daithí Waters as well, another kind of very experienced player in that Wexford side. But yeah, Dublin to win by 20 plus, and yeah, Dublin beat Meath by 25 plus. I remember in the Leinster Championship final last year. I can't remember the exact amount, but you'd worry that it could be 30 plus, and hopefully not. In all honesty, for everyone's sake. But yeah, I'd say this will be 20 plus at a bare minimum. You've got Laois and Westmeath, and this is this is another one. Like, it's going to be a very competitive game. There's no two ways about it, because both sides are coming in on the back of losing every game in Division 2. Both sides obviously got relegated down to Division 3. The only difference is Westmeath showed a lot of fight, a lot of determination, and a lot of quality actually in their 4 games that they played in. In the Cork game, for the first 15 minutes, they were unplayable. They kicked something like 14 to 15 points before the first water break. I mean, that's like Dublin level. I mean, it was an extraordinary bit of play. Ray Kennellan at different times in midfield, exceptional. You've obviously got the talented John Heslin. Ronan O'Toole looks like a good up-and-coming player as well. Probably not the finished article just yet. Probably needs to get a few more years under his belt. Luke Loughlin can pull one out of the bag as well at different points. He's another very talented footballer. So Westmeath have the quality. For Laois, yeah, I mean, look, listen, under Mike Quirk, they just, for as long as I can remember Laois, they've always had just the one-dimensional tactic, hit it into the Kingston brothers. Maybe some of the players, some of the other forwards will, like the likes of Evan O'Carroll, maybe catch onto a loose ball, or he'll provide a bit of moment or magic here or there. They'll probably try to do something similar against Westmeath. One thing I do hope I see, though, is Westmeath play the same way they played against Cork. Come out on the front foot, bring it to Laois, and they should win this game, because if they be defensive, we've seen in the down game, they sat back, they invited pressure on, they gave themselves too much of a lead to come back to. So I think Westmeath have the quality. Fola Irinde coming off the bench as well, who's a good option. So I'm going to go with Westmeath to get the job done, win it by 3. And you've then got Kildare versus Offaly, and you've also got Longford versus Meath. Now, we're talking about these 2 games in a bit of a package, because I think one of the subscribers there was asking me a bit about Offaly potentially, causing a shock against Kildare. Certainly has the potential to do so. It really does, because Offaly are coming in on a lot of momentum. They really are. And I know they lost the Derry game. I think, to be honest, the Derry game, I think the Offaly lads, if anyone's kind of seen the different videos of some of the Offaly lads, I think they're out on the piss probably after sealing promotion. So I don't know how much preparation they well and truly done for the Derry game, in all honesty. But in terms of the Louth game, I honestly felt that Louth would pull through that game, and there was one stage at the start of the second half where Louth, led by I think 2 or 3 points, had a bit of momentum, and with the experience of Mickey Hart, and I think what we saw really was the fact that Louth, they don't have the experience in the team. They have an experienced manager, but the experience in the team is just not quite there yet. But Offaly showed a lot of fight. They showed a lot of battle to turn it around, scoring 2-4 in extra time, outscoring Louth 2-4 to 1. And John Maughan is a mastermind when it comes to pulling off shocks, provincial shocks. Clare 1992 rings a massive bell, of course. Probably the biggest provincial shock of all time, in my opinion. Anyways, maybe Tipperary might have something to say that, but Clare beat Kerry. So yeah, look, listen, it's going to be interesting. But I do think Kildare are coming in with a bit of momentum, having sealed promotion. It would probably be the most Kildare thing ever, to be honest with you. The same year they lost to Carlow was the year they knocked Mayo out of the championship in 2018. So Kildare have one of these performances in them. And to be fair to Offaly, they actually ran Kildare quite close in the championship last year. There was only a couple of points in that. Do think Kildare have pushed on since then. There is some question marks over potential injuries. I think Jimmy Hyland went off, didn't he, in the Meath game. The way they finished out the Meath game as well was a little bit worrying. They had an opportunity to really finish Meath off and they didn't take it. So, if this game is in the melting pot and there's 2 or 3 points going into the close, Offaly have a massive chance of pulling off a shock. They really do. And I think it would be a phenomenal achievement if Offaly could do it. Certainly not a big difference between these 2 sides. There really isn't. But I'm just going to go with Kildare. I think they should have a bit more experience in the team, like a little more quality with the likes of Daniel Flynn, Alex Byrne as well. I think physically they just have a little bit more than Offaly. And I think Offaly have a lot of young lads in there with Keane Farrell and, and whatnot. But they do have experience as well, to be fair, like Rory McNamee and Bernard Allen. But I'm just going to go with Kildare. My heart says Kildare are going to get the victory. So yeah, I'm going to go with them to win it by 2. And Longford versus Meath is another one. And you know what? I'm not a betting man, but I had a look at the odds. 7-1 for Longford to win this game. That's great odds, and I might throw a bet on that, to be honest. I might throw a cheeky 20 quid on that, get 160 quid back if I've done my maths, or 140 quid, is it? I don't know. Maths isn't my my forte or whatever. But yeah, Meath and Longford, wow. I mean, this is a shock, isn't it? This is a shock written all over it. There's a lot of problems with Meath at the moment behind the scenes with the under-20s. If I'm not going to explain it here, but if you want to have a look into it, just search it on Google. There's a lot of problems going on behind the scenes with Meath at the moment. Listen, their minors won the Leinster Championship, which was much needed, I think, during the week. But I feel like there's so many people that's gunning for a shock here, gunning for an upset. There's an upset written all over this, because Longford look very good at the moment. Like against Tipperary, they looked very impressive. Hit 25 points against Carlow. Very experienced with Mickey Quinn in at centre back. Big Darren Gallagher in the midfield, winning a lot of ball. And you've got Rian Brady and Robbie Smith, like I said on the podcast, just what a talent he is. So Longford could do it. They really, really could. They have a potential to beat Meath and cause a shock. And there's this strong part of me that wants to predict that Longford will beat Meath. And maybe it's because, I am a Dublin man and there is a rivalry between Dublin and Meath, and part of me that wants Meath to win at the same time, because I want to see somewhat of a competitive Leinster final. And I feel like Meath and Kildare are the two teams that could somewhat do that, in my opinion, to a certain degree, although I still would fancy Dublin to win it very comfortably. Look, listen, I think Meath, surely, even with the injuries, will have the quality. And I know a lot of Meath fans have been commenting on different videos, and the clip that obviously was out yesterday, a few Meath fans saying that they actually think Longford will get the job done. It's very possible. It really, really is. I'm going to say that Meath get the job done in extra time and they win it by 2 points in the end. I still think there's defensive issues with Longford. I really do. You look at what Derry done to them on the opening day, scored 24 points, I think it was. They conceded 2-13 against Carlow. And there was times in that game where Carlow probably could have got more goals. Carlow really ran through Longford, and when Carlow took Longford on, there was a lot of problems for Longford in defence. So there are defensive issues there for Longford, and they can be got at, and the way Meath play could certainly cause a couple of problems. And we know Meath's biggest threat is goals. Cillian O'Sullivan, I don't know if he's injured or what his story is. But he's probably going to be the most important player on the pitch, because he's a player who can run past 2 or 3 players and put the ball into the back of the net. He's a brilliant ball carrier, probably the best on that Meath side. So he's of critical importance. Jordan Morris is another one. He needs to step up in this game. He needs to show his quality and what he can do. And if he does, and he kicks points from that kind of right hand side of the pitch like he normally does, I think Meath will win. I think they have the quality, even with the likes of James Connellan and Donald Keoghan. You've got Conor McGill suspended as well. So I think they'll have enough. I think they will. So Meath will just about edge past Longford in extra time by 2 points. But anyway, that's going to be the end of the video. Do leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. This has been the football preview, out a little bit later, of course, on Thursday evening. But yeah, do leave a like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you think will happen? What kind of shocks do you see happening, of course, in this weekend's games? It's going to be interesting. Hopefully we have some competitive games. Hopefully they're not too one-sided. But yeah, ultimately, these are my predictions. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below. And cheers for watching.